Well, if you're a regular viewer of this channel, you know that Linda and I love this trailer. We wouldn't trade it for anything. We've taken it all over the western US. We've taken it down to Florida. We take it on some of the most severe four-wheel drive roads you could imagine. We don't make a habit of that, but it's happened. But we've discovered we have a problem with our suspension that could well be affecting your trailer too. If not now, then in the future for sure. Check out what we've found and what it is we're going to do about it. First of all, when it comes to suspension, there's many different ways to go about it. Each one has its pluses and minuses. We like to keep things as simple as possible and as easy to repair as possible, so keep that in mind in this video. The first thing that made me notice this problem was some strange markings around the center of my tire. And it dawned upon me my tire was actually hitting the rivets that held on my light up here. And my tire was hitting my fender. Not only that, but the axle had actually made contact with the frame of the trailer. I don't know if you can see that divot right there on the bottom of this steel cover on my aluminum frame here, this piece of steel here over the axle, but the axle actually traveled up and hit that. See that there? It left a dent. That dent is 3/8 of an inch deep. And there's only about 3 inches between the top of the axle and the frame. Now I know the first thing you're saying is, flip the axle, just flip the axle. Well, there's problems with that. The thing is, I don't want to flip the axle. I already have like 17 inches of ground clearance or more, and flipping the axle is going to put this trailer up another 5 or 6 inches, and the extra windage on the front of the trailer is going to really hurt my gas mileage. So flipping the axle, which I may have to do, it's actually a last resort. Well, you might say, what about shock absorbers? Well, you can't put shock absorbers on an underslung axle like this. There's just not enough room. That's one thing that you can do if you flip the axle. One thing that led to this problem is I did put on bigger tires. The trailer came with 205 75 R15s, and I went with 225 75 R15s. There's a reason I did that. One is I wanted to go with an American-made tire, so I went with Goodyear Endurance because they're made in the US. And if you go to the slightly larger tire, you get a load rating of E, which gives you a nice stiff and sidewall, which is, of course, better on dirt roads and everything, and it's also better protected from rupture when the trailer's bouncing, because trailers with single axles bounce as they go down dirt roads. So part of the problem is that tire, which is also taller than the original tire. What am I going to do about it? Let me show you. I've decided to go with beefier leaf springs. I found these through eTrailer.com. They were really helpful in helping me find these. The critical thing is what the distance is from center to center. Mine is 26 inches, and most of the beefier leaf springs are 25 1/4 inches from center to center. But I found these, and I'm going to put these on. Leaf springs get weak over time, and mine could be sagging. So I'm going to go ahead and replace it. This is a first step, a most logical step. So that's what we're going to do here. Getting the old ones off can be problematic, but I'll show you how to do that. And putting these on might solve my problem, and if it doesn't, I can always flip the axle, and these springs will go right along with doing that, so won't be any problem there. If you're curious about weights, like what weight my trailer is and what weight rating the axle is, I've got a 3,500 pound axle. My trailer empty weighs just under 1,000 pounds, and with all my gear on board right now, it's only 1,000 or maybe 1,200 pounds of gear on board, because it's just a camper, right? We're not hauling freight. But it's the bouncing roads that are just really compressing that leaf spring. Even though we don't go fast, we go slow, you can't always avoid hitting the bumps. Even like in the city, you can drive up over a curb and get a real sharp bang on one side of your trailer axle. So, forcing it up. Problem is, it's only 13 degrees out here. My hands are going to freeze trying to do this. So I'm going to rig up some heat to reflect on my hands and try to make it so I can at least, if I can just get this apart today, then tomorrow's going to be warmer and I'll be able to work a little more comfortably. But for today, I need to do something so I can at least break this down so I can go buy all new bolts for it. I need to pause this video right here for a very special announcement. After I shot this video, Blue Eddy contacted me and offered a brand new AC200L to be given away to one of you, my subscribers. So between now and Christmas, I'm going to explain exactly what you need to do to win one of these. And it's going to be easy, but you're going to have to watch my videos between now and Christmas, because right in the middle of one of these videos, I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do to win. So good luck. The nice thing about infrared heat is it'll warm my hands without having to warm the air. It'll warm your body. That's what infrared is all about. So I'll be able to get this done. And the nice thing about the Blue Eddy is it'll run it. Yeah, I've got over 1400 watts going out, but it's doing just fine. And this is the Blue Eddy AC200L. Nice product. I'm going to break these lug nuts loose while the tire is still sitting on the ground. If you don't have a long breaker bar like this, you should get it, because it's a lot better than having to jump up and down on a shorter one. Just out of curiosity, I want to measure this clearance here. And down to this rib here is 3 1/4 inches. I don't expect this to change too much, but we'll see. I know the new springs are stiffer, but I don't know that they're going to be higher. So much easier than undoing all those with your fingers, right? Cold fingers. Although the heat from this heater is really helping here. Now you can see the line down through the middle of the tire here. That's what was happening. I looked at it and thought it looked really odd. It doesn't go very deep, but no deeper than the tread here. But that's where the other tire doesn't have this line here, this crooked line. This is where it was hitting that rivet under my fender. By the way, I replaced that with a round head screw going the opposite way, so it can't do that anymore anyway. Okay, let's get busy getting this spring out of here. First thing we want to do is hit all the nuts with a penetrant of your choice. That's just going to make life a little easier. You can see up inside the fender here where the tire's been rubbing. I'll go ahead and loosen the U-bolts first over the axle. Oh yeah, they're tight. Okay, now I've got the axle supported. Now I just got to undo the bolts on the leaf spring itself. One of them is splined and needs to be pounded out. I've got a vice grip on the backside to hold the bolt from turning while I break this loose. Oh, that's not too bad. This long breaker bar really does help. Wow. I'll just leave it hang like this for a little bit till I get the front undone. Now that one's got the spline on it and may need pounded out. Okay, this front one is the one that I said would need to be pounded out. We've got the old leaf spring out. I need to go to the hardware store and buy all new nuts and bolts and get really good quality, you know, heavy duty bolts that are rated correctly. And we can put this side back together and then do the other side. Okay, here's the difference between the old spring and the new spring. If you look at the spring thickness here, it's right at about 1.25 inches. The new spring, because the leaves are thicker, is closer to 1.5 inches. That's the difference. So it was hard to find this spring because when you've got this 26-inch length, the leaves are relatively thin. But shopping around, like I said, E-Trailer had this one with the thicker leaves and it's rated higher. So there you go. Here's something else too. Look how elongated the hole is in that hanger. Both holes. So I got to replace these plates too. And I'll be replacing all the bolts, of course, but look how this bolt is. It's all worn in next to the head there where it goes through the hanger. So this could also break. It's a good thing I'm doing this because it's all wore out. Oh yeah. Some parts of the country you're going to say I should have said worn out. I got scolded for saying roof instead of roof. Hey guys, it's where you live. We say creek instead of creek. Doesn't that drive you nuts? Unfortunately, the hangers on the trailer are also elongated and they're welded on, so I'm going to have to take the trailer into a spring shop and have them weld on some new hangers. But I can do that after I get this job done. They're just going to have to undo the top 2 bolts and weld on some new hangers. That's going to take up a lot of play. Now the nice thing about leaf spring suspension is that the parts are readily available at your local farm and ranch store. You can't do that with torsion arm suspension. See here? Leaf springs right there. They may not have the one that I used, but they have one right here that'll fit. So I would, in case of a, if I broke one, I could go to the local farm and ranch store and pick up another one. Then here, look. All the U-bolts are here. So I can go ahead and buy spare parts and get this all back together. Got it all. Ready to go. Well, it's a good thing I did this because not only did I put on a stronger spring, but I also discovered the parts that were worn out. So putting this back together is just the reverse of taking it apart. I'll be tightening all these down with a wrench. Okay, that ought to about do it. Slip the tire back on there and see if we gained any height. Well, that's made a huge difference. I didn't expect this to be this much. Before I was 3¼ inches down to this point here. Now I'm 5¼ inches. I gained 2 inches here. That ought to do it. solves my problem. So I'm not going to have to flip my axle. That's a good thing. I still have to take it in though and get those two upper hangers replaced, have new ones welded on. But this solved my problem. You better check your trailer, because if you got some miles on it like we've got on this one, all your stuff is going to be worn out too. So this is a good indication of what you need to do to fix that. Well, today turned out way better than I thought it was going to turn out, even though I found all that wear, but sure found out what the problem was and got it fixed. We should be good to go from this point on. Now, I know these springs are going to be a little stiffer, but my trailer is a little heavier, so it should kind of even out compared to the old soft springs and these new ones. Hey, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, good luck on your own trailer. We'll see you around. I still have to do the other side.